Hello and welcome to Around the Natty episode 5. We're back. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Logan.
And like I said, we're back. We're on a hiatus. Couldn't get together, couldn't get our schedules to match up, but we are back. We're ready to talk some Cincinnati sports. So we want to start off by just giving a little update on what we've been doing and why we haven't been around.
Yeah, I mean, life kind of came at us fast. As some of you guys might know, we're in our last semester of undergrad, so obviously kind of busy there. Unfortunately, I was in Chicago for a week on a conference. I was there for the Great Lakes Athletic Training Association's conference, which was really super fun, educational. I got to flick the bean, so that was kind of cool.
That's a weird
and weird flex, but okay. And I also, got to try Giordano's, I think is what it's called. Giordano's, something like that. Is that a pizza place? It's a pizza place, so it was alright. And not as good as Trada's, but it was still good. And hashtag Round the Natty. And but yeah, no, I really, we've just been busy, and unfortunately, like I said, we haven't had a chance to get together. But Andrew, what's going on with you? I think you went on a conference as well at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, so my conference in a much less known city. I went to Muncie, Indiana, which if you've ever been to Muncie, Indiana,
home of the Ball State Cardinals, right?
Yeah, and the Meth Addicts. So we pretty much stayed in the hotel. The hotel had a brewery in it, so that was fun. But yeah, we learned a lot of leadership stuff, a lot of that. But other than that, it's just been school and work. So we haven't been able to link in and get a recording time down. But we're back. We're packed with news. Some good, some bad, some really bad, some even worse. But we're gonna dive right in, and we're gonna start in the dark times. It's gonna be a dark time. As of the date right now, as we're recording this, it is the 22nd of March.
The Ides of March.
Yes, which will go down as another UC Bearcats being upset by a higher seed. Sorry. So Bearcats get beat out by the Hawkeyes today, in embarrassing fashion in the end. So I'm gonna let you start off, Logan. Go ahead.
Yeah. So. I'm a firm believer of not allowing policy or frame of mind to be made or written following an emotional event, this being one of them. Okay. I've heard a lot of calls as a result of this loss and some other, failed successes or I should say lack thereof for Mick Cronin's job. And the reality is that, first of all, I think we need to, before we talk about this game today, we need to talk about, we are the model of consistency in terms of, teams that are consistently there. We've been in the tournament 9 straight years.
Yeah. There's
very few other programs that can say that.
I also think 9 or 6 or something.
Now, I will say, though, that it's been since 2012, that's 7 seasons now since we've made it out the first weekend of March.
Yeah.
And that's disheartening. I don't think it's fair to say it's unacceptable. Whenever you're, winning conference championship tournaments, when you're winning conference championships, regular season championships, I should say, when you are consistently 9 straight years in the tournament, I think that we as UC fans are spoiled. And I think the other thing is that we underestimate and forget this is a rebuilding year for us guys. We graduated 2 seniors and one guy who would have been a senior this year, who was a prolific scorer, one of the best in the division, in all Division I basketball last year. I think we need to model and perhaps adjust our expectations accordingly. Now let's kind of talk about today's game. The game today was difficult. It started off, the first half was great. Jared Cumberland wasn't necessarily firing, and he wasn't hot offensively, but he was distributing well. Nasir Brooks was out there working it. I mean, I think there was a 2 or 3 possession exchange where he had an offensive rebound, a dunk, and a block consecutively. I think he was really owning that game. And regrettably, due to some what I would assert as poor officiating, he fell into foul trouble early, and I think that kind of sealed the fate for us going forward. Justin Jennifer at the beginning of the first half was shooting well. Kane Broom was moving the ball well. Even whenever Jaron Cumberland was on the bench for that 2 or 3 minute stretch, we were scoring well still.
Yeah.
Between Jennifer and Kane Broom, and regrettably, Iowa went in the second half, made some adjustments, came out absolutely shooting unbelievably, and you and I talked off air before we got on. I mean, that's how upsets happen. Upsets happen whenever teams come alive from beyond the 3-point line. It's how UMBC won last year and went to the Sweet 16. It's how they beat Virginia in the first round. As we speak now, Iona is up at the half against North Carolina. That's how they're up. They're shooting well from outside.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this was a Bearcats team that I think really overachieved this season.
Yeah.
And regrettably came up short in the tournament.
I agree. And I think you hit it right on the head with Brooks. I mean, it was like 2 different teams when he's on there. Obviously when he was on there, they got him up there and they're scoring points. I think they threw up a graphic during the game that they were outscoring Iowa by 19, and then without him on it, Iowa's outscoring them by 19. So it's definitely a big swing when he's not on the court. And again, you said it's bad officiating. There was also a lot of kind of goofy ones. There were a couple where he had multiple tripping fouls.
Yeah. In
that game, it wasn't just one; it was multiple.
Right.
And that Garza for Iowa, I'll just mention this. He had huge eyebrows. I mean, absolute caterpillars. But he seemed to always be in the right spot, and he'd always seem to draw the foul. And he played a hell of a game and everything. But one thing that the Bearcats do well is defense, and it's always been that way. And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Not as long as McCray's there.
Right, absolutely. And with that, there's going to be games like this where if a team gets hot and they start splashing down everywhere, it's going to be hard for them because, it looked like there was nothing they could do. I mean, I was watching it and I'm sitting there and I'm like just score, like, because every time it was like they'd go in there and they wouldn't get it in, and then the next team would smash a 3, and then you're like, okay, well, play that defense that you can play. And when the defense starts failing, you're like, well, what are we supposed to do?
Right.
What are we supposed to do? This is what we're known for. And if we're not going to do what we're best at, well, it's like we got to have somebody we can fall back on to start putting some points down, and Cumberland wasn't that guy today.
And that what the situation you just described was not unique to this game.
Right.
I mean, UC's arguably their worst loss of the season was to ECU. It's exactly what happened to ECU. Both games against Memphis.
The last Houston game as well.
Right. I mean, both games against Memphis during the regular season, they went off from beyond the 3, and luckily we came out with some wins. But, I mean, those were some nasty, fight to the end games.
Yeah.
And then you and I were talking again off air, and every game was a to the wire game. It felt like, aside from probably the last game in the AAC tournament when they played Houston, and I saw someone tweet. I'll give him a shout out at Chuck Diesel. You're welcome. You're welcome, Chucky Bear. But he said, I know that Houston's supposed to, this is when we lost to Houston on senior night. He said, I know Houston's supposed to be a good team, but aren't we supposed to play well against good teams?
Yeah.
And he was absolutely right. I mean, and that's what you have to expect when you come to the tournament. And I really thought that after coming off of a big win against Houston, I really thought we'd come out fine.
Yeah.
And I think we did in the first half. But our perimeter defense has to be better. It just has to be. It has to be better.
Yeah.
We have to find and be more creative in scoring. Our half court offense is terrible. It's awful.
Yeah.
If we can't get Jaron Cumberland coming off a screen, or if his shots aren't falling, we have no half court offense.
Yeah.
Next year, Justin Jennifer and Kane Bream won't be here. We don't know if Cumberland will be here or not. He may enter the draft. We'll see. But we have to find a way to get creative with our offense. And if Jaron Cumberland doesn't come back, I'm scared because I don't know who's next. I mean, Trayvon Scott, I don't know, and I don't know, and I think that the only thing that gives me hope is that I saw Gary Clark from his junior year to a senior year make a huge jump offensively.
Yeah.
And hopefully Trayvon Scott can do the same. But aside from that, man, I'm nervous. And obviously we'll have Nas coming back. You hope that Mamadou Diarra comes back and plays better. And he has to be better off the bench. Mamadou Diarra, he was an absolute liability out there today. We switch everything in terms of screens, and he can't guard on the perimeter. He looked soft down low. Our ability to crash the offensive boards and secure defensive rebounds completely went out the window whenever Nas went out of the game. And those are things that shots won't fall, but those are things that are within our control that we have to do well all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what this team is built on. So it's extremely frustrating. Don't get me wrong. I don't think we had planned to play love it or shove it, but if I were going to make a love it or shove it question, I would say, would you consider the season to be, or the season is a disappointment? Love it or shove it. And, if we were going to play that game, I would say shove it, because I don't think the season was a disappointment, but I am very disappointed in how today's result went.
But aren't you so sick of that? I mean, we say it every year. You're not just frustrated and tired of, yeah, we had a great season, but it didn't end how we wanted. We've been saying that. I feel like it's deja vu every time a season ends in Cincinnati.
I was about to say, I think it's some of the Cincinnati sports fatigue there.
It's the most infuriating and tiring thing. Yeah, we had a great season, but the only relief I've had the past couple of years is the Bengals not even being in the conversation. You know what I mean? It's like, man. But I'm not going to harp on it.
It's rough, man.
It hurts.
Hard. It's hard.
I'm sore. I'm sore from it. It feels very reminiscent of Nevada last year to me. Like I said, not going to harp on it. I'm cutting it off right there. So what we're going to do, I think the season overall was a great season, but again,
still tough.
It's still an overachieving, still hurts. I'm looking forward to next season. That's all I have to say at this point.
That's all I got to say.
Good luck to Iowa. Okay, good luck. But we're gonna make a shift here. We're gonna shift to football in the Cincinnati Bengals. A lot has happened since last time we spoke with you guys. Some different coaches. We finally have our defensive coordinator that we were talking about last time, and then free agency hit as well. So there's been a lot of talk there. Not really much on the Bengals side. They've made some pretty sound signings, I would say, in my opinion. They didn't make that big splash that people may have thought was going to come with Zach Taylor. And with that, I think you got to remember, Zach Taylor's not the only guy in that room. We still got Mike Brown, and we still got Duke Tobin kind of handling that stuff. And we'll see the different approach to the draft and stuff like that and see the effects that has on Mike Brown. But with that, we're going to kind of go over the coach overview. So our new defensive coordinator, I'm going to butcher his name, Anamuro?
Lou Anarumo.
Anarumo, there it is. Thoughts, Logan?
So first of all, I'm glad that we finally hired a defensive coordinator. I was beginning to worry that we weren't going to, and we might have to give Marvin a call. That's kind of where we were nearing, honestly.
He's busy being a commentator,
right? Lou Anarumo is. Here's the thing: he's not coached the worst defense or even the 25th ranked defense in the league the last few years. So that's an improvement from what we've been at. I think that we're all very happy it was not Marquand Manuel from the Falcons.
Yeah. I don't know why he even got an interview.
We'll see. Here's my thing: is I think Lou Anarumo has a lot of talent. Hopefully they can put some linebackers back there for him because I think that was our biggest weakness. Yeah, we were able to re-sign Darqueze Dennard, and then we signed B.W. Webb.
Who played for him.
And had a good season under him recently, and so I think that there's certainly some pieces there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have Geno Atkins, who had, by his standards, a disappointing year last year, but is certainly still one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league. Carlos Dunlap is no doubt one of the best pass rushers still.
Carl Lawson comes back. Glasgow comes back. That's huge.
Right.
I know Glasgow doesn't seem like this big flashy player, but
I mean, in terms of stopping the run, which we
he's
struggled
a
with
force
last
on
year,
the inside, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that when you play the Ravens, for example, twice a year,
Yeah.
and their offense and the way their offense is going to look, it's going to be really important to be able to stop the run.
Can we talk about that? Joe Flacco gone.
Yeah, that's
Joe
fantastic.
Flacco is gone to the Broncos.
It's the best thing that could have happened to the Bengals.
That's big time. I mean, no, it's actually not because
he doesn't play well against the Bengals.
We ate Joe
right,
Flacco for breakfast. I mean, good lord. But I personally don't hate it. It obviously isn't the prettiest defensive coordinator option that we could have had. I was really hoping we would have got Pleasant from the Rams after we lost Del Rio. Del Rio wasn't vibing it, but I thought Del Rio would have been great, but I don't hate it. Let's just say that. I don't hate it. It's not something I'm going to go, oh yeah, let's do it, but I don't hate it. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's ever called a deep. Yeah. No, I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. But
he was the interim.
Was he interim? That was his first time calling plays, right?
He was in the interim with Miami.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'll say is that I don't know what you expect as a fan when you have a young coach like this who doesn't have a large coaching tree.
Yeah.
But it is somewhat. I come with skepticism, and that this staff looks like the 2015 Miami Dolphins after Joe Philbin got fired.
Yeah. I was just hoping Zach Taylor was gonna nudge his father-in-law and be like, "Yo, you want to help me out, Chief? This is a lot. I know you're in Canada right now doing your thing, but you want to put my name out there for some of these coaches?"
Well, yeah, and I mean that's the thing. I think that we kind of spoiled with Marvin because he had such a large coaching tree and he's been in the game for so long.
Yeah,
he had many connections, and love or hate some of his moves. The reality is there's a lot of people who would come and be willing to take less money being an assistant with the Bengals because Marvin Lewis was there.
Yeah,
and I think that we got away with paying a lot of people a lot less money, who otherwise were relatively significant names, and have gone on to be head coaches, some more successful than others.
Yeah.
I'd say they've all currently are kind of struggling.
I don't know. Zimmer went to the playoffs 2 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even think they'll win their division this year.
No, the Bears did.
No, I'm saying this coming year. I think the Bears will win again.
You don't think so?
I think the Packers would be right there, and then I think the Vikings will probably be.
You think I think the Packers are in disarray right now. Aaron Rodgers is the most depressed he's ever been. When Randall Cobb got signed, he posted an Instagram post of him hugging Randall Cobb, and he put a Shawshank Redemption quote in it.
Damn.
Isn't that weird?
Is it
some about birds?
Yeah, I was saying about Jake.
Yeah.
He wants his bird. If there's one person who would know that reference, no, I'm making fun of them, but they're probably not listening to this. But yeah, that's pretty funny.
But yeah, so you know what? Let's give Zim his props. He's a good coach. I think they make some moves and whatever. Their defense is still legit.
Yeah, I don't know, folks. I'm really, there's a lot of unknown, and I think that I'll go in with understanding that there's a lot of unknown. Now, you mentioned briefly free agency and not making any kind of big name. Initially, I was upset. I was aggravated.
I mean, it's hard not to be upset when they open up the free agency season by giving Bobby Hart a $21 million contract for 3 years.
I tweeted out #SameDay instead of New Day, right?
It's very clever. I appreciate it.
But here's the thing. If you look at a lot of these contracts, and really all the time, a lot of these contracts
aren't what they look like when they are written down.
Well, no, I'll say the big names that get signed, those end up being really terrible contracts for these teams. It's very rare that you end up going to a second team on a third or fourth contract and being productive more than a year or at all. I'd be willing to bet that Odell Beckham
Just call him
Jr.
OBJ.
Odell Beckham Jr. I doubt that he will find success beyond a year or two, if that even.
Yeah.
Same with Antonio Brown. I think the Oakland Raiders are going to be terrible. And again, these are really significant contracts that completely destroy the cap
Absolutely.
of these teams. And we do have some cap space to play with. The one thing that people always say and complain about is that the Bengals, they don't spend enough. We actually are above the average per year salary against our cap.
Yeah.
In the NFL. So we're spending. We just aren't spending on the players that you particularly want. And I think that we have always been an organization, or when we've been good, we've been an organization who's been successful in building through the draft. Regrettably, we've had some misses in the first round last few years.
I mean, 2015 was a whiff.
Right.
Let's just say that. The only person who's still left from the 2014-2015 draft, CJ Uzomah. He's the only one who got a second contract. That's crazy.
Well, and I think, and especially like the first rounders, I mean, rounds 1 through 4, you really have to hit.
Yeah.
And especially your first round picks, and especially when you're drafting within the first 10.
Yeah.
And we've had, Cedric Ogbuehi. Nope. John Ross.
Give it a minute.
We'll see, but so far that's been bad. I know he wasn't a first round pick, but he's a second round pick. Eric Fisher. We've seen, I mean the best draft we had was the AJ Green, Andy Dalton draft in I was at 2013, and since then I mean it's been pretty average.
I don't know. Joe Mixon was a pretty good draft. You know what I mean?
I mean, he was a good draft pick. He's a good value pick, absolutely. But
Yeah.
that draft in and of itself
It was
was
okay.
not great.
Yeah, it was okay. But yeah, let's just go down the list and talk about some of these signings.
Sure, go for it.
We'll give some opinions, and we'll kind of go from there. So I'm gonna start us off with CJ Uzomah. A lot of these deals are 3 years, 21 mil. So what are your thoughts, CJ? I personally like it. What do you think?
So I think that if you don't re-sign 2 of the 3 guys who were up for free agency, you have to address it in the draft. I think if you're going to address it in the draft, you're going to use a first or second round pick. I think that those picks could better be utilized elsewhere.
Yeah.
All those things considered, I don't really have a problem with it. CJ Uzomah was, for the most part,
serviceable.
Yeah.
I'll use the term serviceable.
Yeah, I mean he was there. He's I think he's a quality blocking tight end.
Yeah. I mean he made some catches there, here and there. 2 touchdowns. Not great. But yeah.
Well, and you also understand that he played 6 games without Andy Dalton as well.
That's true.
So
that's true.
And there's games where AJ Green wasn't in. There's games where obviously, there's no other tight end threat because Ty Croft and Tyler Eifert were out.
Yeah.
So I think it's easier, and we had Joe Mixon, so it's also we weren't able to really go across the middle very often because they had 8 in the box, so it's pretty easy to play the run and then also defend any kind of like mid to short passing game as well across the middle of the field. I don't hate it.
One thing I will say about it, since he's come into the league, I think he's shown steady improvement. You know what I mean? A couple years ago, he was dropping balls left and right. I think he was generally a reliable target this year, and he made some good moves. And really, if you think about it, Tyler Eifert doesn't do very much blocking. In fact, he doesn't really line up as a traditional tight end most of the time.
Well, and given his health record, I don't think he should,
Right.
to be honest.
I would. Yeah, I don't even want to run him over the middle anymore.
Right. No,
But you have to. That's why he's successful.
Yeah, if we could just bring packages for him where within the 20 yards, within the red zone, and throw maybe some corner fades for him. That would be most
Let's
ideal.
keep him-
Let him have 15 touchdowns. I don't care if he has 12 yards all year long. Just
let's keep him by those little guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But speaking of Eifert, he's re-signed. Another 1-year deal. Another kind of prove you can make it through the season deal. You know, a lot of these are prove it deals. Prove you can make it in the NFL. But I mean, with his, it's kind of prove that you can make it through an NFL season. So with this deal, I'm going to start us off. On the surface, it you look at and you see what you get. He's guaranteed $3 million. It's 1 year, and most of it's incentives. And like, what most people are thinking is why he gets injured all the time. I mean, there's really not a downside to it other than it just fills a roster spot. I mean,
low risk, high reward.
Yeah, if you look at it, it's really a no-brainer. Like if he's gonna take the hometown discount, right?
Right.
And he's gonna go. Okay, I owe this to the team. I've sat more games than I've played, and the difference in Andy Dalton between when he's in there and when he's not in there is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, he is Andy Dalton's safety net. And I mean, Tyler Boyd stepped up a little bit, but I don't think he can fill that spot that Eifert had. I mean, Eifert was, anytime Andy's getting scrambled or doing this, and he'd flick it up. And there you go, Eifert's got it. So I really like it. I personally, after he went down in Atlanta.
I mean, he's having a hell of a season up to that point.
Exactly. And when he went down, I'm going, oh man, and he's on that 1-year prove it deal. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, you know what? I have no problem with them giving him that deal again. Yeah. And that's essentially what it was. This is like almost an identical deal to what he got last year. Yeah. I don't hate it.
Yeah, this is a very team-friendly deal. I think it's very reasonable for the amount of talent that is there.
He could go get money elsewhere, I think.
Right. Yeah.
I think he could have went and got decent money.
At him.
Yeah,
sure. I agree. And I don't know if he would have been as featured of a receiver in other systems or not. But and that's the thing too. I really don't know what they plan on doing with him here either. I don't know if he's gonna be a package player. They might bring him in for a red zone as a red zone specialist. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I
doubt it.
They might spread him out solely as a wide out.
I would do that. Good lord.
I don't know. I think that it would be foolish not to invest with the quality running back that they have.
Yeah.
The suspect offensive line that they have, and the fact that they just signed these 2 tight ends. I think they'd be foolish not to run a 2 tight end set and help protect Andy Dalton a little bit, you know?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Play action. Let's mismatch, across the middle of the field. Okay, you want to bring in an extra linebacker or, a bigger safety to down. Okay, we're going to make you pay with Tyler Eifert over the top or AJ over the top. We're going to try and match you up, your big guys up with, the much faster, more agile Tyler Eifert. We're going to move. I hope that they're creative and moving AJ Green around. I'm tired of him.
Yeah.
Why can't we bring him in motion? Why can't we put him he should be moving all over the place. Your best players have to get the ball. That's something that I've been harping on since we hired Zach Taylor. Yeah. That's going to be the key for me. For me, I don't care if we lose 16 games.
I mean, I do. But...
I mean, me too, actually. But but if we lose 16 games and we're creative, but our players just aren't good enough, i.e., Bobby Hart gives up 12 sacks a game, which isn't beyond reason to suspect. I can live with that if we're doing the things that we need to do to try to get our best players the ball and get the playmakers the ball and the opportunities that they need to be successful.
I concur with that. I'm going to skip this next one because I'm going to get pretty riled up over it. Next one, Preston Brown. Linebacker, signed him last year to a 1-year deal. Hometown kid. He likes it here. And again, I like this signing. I like it. I don't think it necessarily shores up our linebacker room. But I think it's a quality. I think it's a quality sign. I don't think we gave him anything outrageous. It's not like we're, breaking the bank here. The man led the league in tackles 2 years ago, which, is important. I think it's important. Obviously, he struggled with health last year, as did the entire Bengals roster. So I think in the run he'll be huge. But as far as what our need at linebacker is, it's not filling the run. We need somebody who can run sideline to sideline and cover who they need to cover, and not have this massive gaping hole in the middle of the field. So I like it. I think it helps. Do I think it's the end-all, be-all? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I think that, like you said, it's certainly not the answer to the problem that we have currently.
Yeah.
Again, you're not going to find 3 starting linebackers. You're not going to be able to find and be able to draft 3 starting linebackers in this draft. I also don't think that it's wise to go out and spend money on an aging linebacker who is on the end of their career, which is what we've done as an organization multiple times, whether it's James Harrison or it's AJ Carlos Dansby or AJ Hawk or whoever it might be.
Kevin Minter.
Kevin Minter. I mean, these are guys that are at the end of their career. Preston Brown's still a relatively young guy.
Yeah.
He played a couple of pretty good games at the beginning of the season. I think that the system he was in. Here's my thing: if Geno Atkins looks suspect at times out there, I think it's a problem within the system, not the players, right?
Agree.
So I'd like to give him an opportunity to play within a system that is hopefully more effective and more conducive to their style and to providing an opportunity for success. But again, if this was a 5-year deal and they were going to say this is the cornerstone of our defense, then I would be a little more concerned. That's not what we're doing here. We're simply trying to fill needs right now. We had a coaching staff that was hired on late. The defense coordinator was hired just weeks ago. Personnel wise, there wasn't a lot of time to be able to prepare for free agency. Hopefully now they can focus their attention on the upcoming draft. We have the opportunity to draft well. I think we have 13 picks this year. That's plenty of opportunity to hit, hopefully, and find pieces that can fill some voids for us. I think that and I don't mean to jump ahead because we're going to talk about it here in a little bit, but I think that's where we need to go with our first round pick, is addressing that need as well.
Yeah. I agree. And we'll talk about that here in a bit when we delve into the drafts a little bit and what their philosophy is going to be with that and kind of where we want them to go and where we think they're going to go and stuff like that. But another signing. I personally thought Denard was gone.
Me too.
With the signing of Webb, I'm like, that's it. That's Denard's end here.
That's his swan song.
Yeah, and it seemed that way. And he went and had a couple meetings with some teams. He went and met with the Chiefs, I believe, and I guess his value wasn't what he thought his value was in the league. He's a undersized guy. He's played slot corner all his life. Or at least all his life in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really play on the outside much. He's a hell of a run stopper as a corner. I like that. But is he worth,
He's had injury problems. He's not been consistently healthy, and I think that that's important to consider as well. But to your point, I think he went out and realized that his value wasn't what he thought it was, like you said.
And he reassessed that. And he goes, okay, well, you know what? I guess I'll re-sign with Cincinnati. And I'm happy. He's back. Personally, I like Denard as a player. I think he brings a lot to the defense. I think
our corner room is really formidable.
Yeah.
And I think Jesse Bates is going to be a cornerstone of the franchise for a long time. And,
I agree.
Now, if you want to talk about the other safety position, then we can have a discussion about that because I think there's definitely room to improve there. But as far as
I miss George.
Right. As far as that goes, though, I can really appreciate the effort to shore up the corner room. And
I mean, heck, dude, we had spent like 4 first-round draft picks on everything.
Yeah, and regrettably, I'm personally ready to move on from
Dre.
Dre Kirkpatrick. I'm ready to move on from Dre, but for the time being, he's here. Hopefully, he plays well. I never really thought he'd play well in our system, but that was under Zimmer and then Paul Gunther, because he always played in his own defense. He always played zone coverage, and at Alabama, very rarely played man to man, and we're strictly a press man team, or we were then. Mm-hmm. So I don't know about going forward what that's going to look like, but we'll see. But I think Darqueze Denard though is a solid signing. I think it shores up the corner position, and hopefully we can go forward. Obviously, we have Webb as well, who they signed. But we mentioned before he had success with Lou Anarumo, and we'll see if he can replicate that this year. It's just so hard to have this conversation because we just don't know what the defense is going to look like.
We don't know what the team's going to look like.
And it's so hard. And I think that more. And even with after the draft, there'll still be a lot of question marks, but at least I'll have a better idea of what we can expect on the field day one, the starting 11, and what that's going to look like.
Right. And I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to need you to hold me back. Bobby Hart.
Trash.
Bobby Hart.
Trash.
Signed for 3 years with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Right tackle of the future. Woo!
Yeah. I hate it. I'm just going to start out by saying that. I hate it. It's so bad. I had a discussion with somebody, and I'm sitting there, and they're like, I don't know, maybe there's nothing better out there. They're like, who else are you going to go get? I'm like, draft somebody. It's got to be better. You know what I mean? It's got to be.
Yeah, I don't know. Here's what you do. You paid Andrew Worth what he's worth, and you don't let him walk.
He plays left tackle.
Yeah, and then you slide Cordy Glenn over to right. I don't know. But yeah, no, it's frustrating. It's horribly frustrating.
It's horrible.
The funniest thing is that did you hear Bobby Hart's interview after he got re-signed?
The one on like Instagram and all that?
It was like the Bengals published it.
No.
So, first of all, he said he believes that he's the best right tackle in the league. He said that. Wow. And secondly, he's like, after reviewing the film, he's like, there's some things, there's a couple of things I can improve upon, but overall, I really feel like I had a great season. And I'm like, well, if your determinant of success is allowing sacks and pressures against your quarterback and getting his ass kicked, then yes, you had an excellent season.
And untimely penalties. Him and Redmond took turns. They're like, all right, hey, on this play, here's what you're going to do. You're going to false start. We're on the goal line. We're down by a touchdown. Go.
We're gonna score here, get a penalty, and the next one he's gonna dive in the end zone, but he's gonna be actually giving himself up. So, because we don't want the points, we want to give ourselves up here.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna harp it anymore. I hate the signing. It's horrible. I don't understand it. I don't pretend to understand it. It doesn't make sense. Trash. That's all I'm gonna say. And kind of the final thing I want to touch on in free agency. Longtime Bengal. Some love him, some hate him. Whether you hate him or love him, he's gone. Vontaze Burfict. Not fleas. He was cut, and I'm kind of torn and not torn. It was time. It was time for Vontaze to go.
He just wasn't good anymore.
Yeah, and when he's giving you a headache and he's balling out, it's okay. You're like, right. All right, I can handle it. But now that after last season he barely played, and when he did play, he was sluggish and slow. It's just not worth it anymore. It didn't make sense. And personally, I think the one string that was holding him to the team was Marvin. And after Marvin's gone, it's like, oh crap. You know? And I think that's why he went to the Raiders. He's got Paulie G over there to look after him, and that's the system where he thrived.
Right. Well, and hopefully he finds success there. I wish him the best, and I think Vontaze was, like you said. I mean, he was my favorite player when he was here and productive, and I love a guy that plays on the edge and right up to the edge, and maybe slips past it a couple of times here and there. But it got to the point where between an injury and suspension, one, he was never available, and then your best ability as a player is your availability, and then when he wasn't playing well. I mean, he looked slow. He looked like he didn't know what he was doing or supposed to be doing.
He was missing tackles.
I mean, where's the man possessed? That's the guy I need. I need the guy who is picking off Ben Roethlisberger in the 2015 first round wild card playoff game to seal the game that was eventually lost by Jeremy Hill, who then tried to brag about winning a Super Bowl sitting on the bench for the New England Patriots. I digress. So where's that guy? That's the player I need, and he's not that anymore. His speed is gone. His body's breaking down on him. Again, I hope he finds success in Oakland. I doubt that he will because he's just not the same anymore, and it is what it is.
It's sad. It's definitely a sad ending to a promising career, and a promising what could have been. Personally, my belief is I think the fire was suspended out of him. You know what I mean? I think he sits there and he goes and he does some things, and obviously some of the things are warranted for suspension. But I mean, after the first two, it was like anything that man did was a first-degree felony. Like. Right. He could have breathed on Ben Roethlisberger, and it was like, "Oh, get him out, personal foul." And you're like, "Oh man, he's just playing the game." And like that hit on the Chiefs fullback Sherman in that preseason game.
Yeah,
my God, suspend him for that? That's ridiculous. But it was time. He just didn't have a fit here anymore, and I think they're going in a younger generation here. At linebacker, and that kind of leads me to my next thing, the draft. We're gonna kind of talk about our predictions, but I know you have some AJ McCarron gripe to get out.
Yeah, I just want to say to all of you Andy Dalton haters, okay, AJ McCarron has now played for two of the worst teams in the NFL and has started for neither of those teams. He couldn't get a start with the Buffalo Bills.
Nathan Peterman.
He sat behind Nathan Peterman and Josh Allen. He got traded to the Oakland Raiders and could not, like, he got in. He played some because they benched Derek Carr a couple of times and he was trash. And now he's playing with the Houston Texans and he's going to back up and be a backup. And I think he's a very suitable backup. That's his role. He's not a franchise quarterback. Everyone who's against Andy Dalton, get off of him. I have my own gripes to a certain extent. I get it. I understand it. But stop being delusional and crying out for, Jeff Driscoll is going to be the... Shut up. Shut up.
Okay. Don't shut up. We're not going to extradite our listeners here, okay?
No, if you thought that AJ McCarron was going to be a franchise quarterback, you're an idiot. Shut up.
Okay. Well, personal rants aside, we're moving on. We're still staying on the topic of Bengals. And as promised, we're moving on to predictions around the draft, centered around the draft. We're going to talk what position you're going to think first round. If you have a player in mind, throw a player out for me, Daddy-O. And then kind of think about what your philosophy is. If you have anything for the second round, good. If you don't, we'll kind of move on from there. But do you want me to start or you want to start?
I'm going to start.
Okay.
I can tell you if you draft them, I'm done.
Okay, go ahead.
If we draft Kyler Murray,
okay, there it is.
I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to see it. We've already wasted enough first round picks. I'm not about it. Don't waste my time. I hate it. It better be a linebacker. Make it a linebacker. Hey, Duke Tobin, make it a linebacker.
Do you have anybody in mind you want?
Honestly,
there's two I have in mind.
Okay, go ahead. Let's hear it.
Okay, it's the two Devins. You got Devin White from LSU.
Yeah.
And you got Devin Bush from Michigan. Now, one thing that I will say is I think Devin White is going to go higher. Now, whether Devin White is still on the board at 11 is to be seen, and that's all speculation. It's all guessing. I think Devin White or Devin Bush is the more complete linebacker, and I think he would have more success here. Now, I think Devin White's ceiling is much higher than Devin Bush's ceiling. So, part of me is leaning towards Devin White because it's like, I love it, but like I'm also like, we need a solid linebacker who's going to come in here and produce and get it done.
Make an impact immediately.
And get it done. But, like, here's my dilemma is, do you go, hey, I want this guy who has the potential to be a stud and be, like, this freaking monster, awesome linebacker? Or do I want this polished, clean guy? I watched Devin Bush run his cone drill at the Combine. My God, he looked like a DB. So swift, so clean. His footwork was beautiful. I don't know, man. those are my two guys. Honestly, I don't think Devin White's going to be on the board at 11.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen what high ceiling, sometimes reckless, looks like.
Yeah.
We just released him. His name is Vontez Perfect.
He was undrafted, sir.
I know he's undrafted, but I'm just saying I know what that looks like.
Right.
Give me the most known commodity. Give me smooth. Give me so fresh and so clean.
Yeah.
And that was really funny. I thought that was gonna be
Was that a song? Was that a song?
Yeah. So fresh and so clean.
I'm not very hip.
Okay. But yeah. So our listeners will get it. They'll think it's funny because I'm a funny guy. But that's kind of where I'm at with it. Please, dear God, don't draft a quarterback.
Hey man, I'm gonna stop you right there. I've been watching a lot of stuff around it. I've seen a bunch of pictures, and those memes where somebody's like, "I wish somebody looked at me the way that like somebody looks at this."
Oh God!
And like I'm looking at Zach Taylor in the back at those pro days, and he's going like, "Oh!" If you can't, I know you can't see me, but I'm doing like the look at meme. Like he's looking at Dwayne Haskins like he's a snack right now. He's like, I could see it happening. Now, does that necessarily mean it's the best move? Probably not. But as a fan, it's fun and exciting.
And Dwayne Haskins won't be there at 11.
Listen.
He won't be there at 11. Guarantee it.
Listen to me. It's fun and exciting, and you know it. Okay?
Yeah, so is heroin, but people still die from it, so.
Wow. That's
Sorry, folks.
He's getting very controversial today.
Yes, I'm feeling a little edgy today.
I'm just saying. I'm looking at it and I'm going. I'm getting a little peek. You know what I mean?
Right.
Obviously, I think a linebacker would probably be the best move and probably the most safe move. But like, what if? I know you hate it.
Oh, and I hate it.
And I don't like it, but I'm also like being honest to my true self, and I'm like, oh, it's exciting though. Like think of the last time we drafted like a round 1 quarterback, Carson Palmer. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah,
Does Carson Palmer ring a bell?
Hated it.
I mean, the last quarterback we drafted was Logan Woodside. He got a DUI, then got cut.
Yeah, and you know who the quarterback was before that? AJ McCarron. And he's not a franchise quarterback either.
Moving on. That's just my 2 cents about that. But we're going to shift again.
It makes me absolutely red hot. Speaking of red hot.
Nice. Good segue, man. I like it. We're keeping it casual today. We haven't been on in a while. We figured we'd make it a fun one for you guys.
We're having some fun with it today.
We're going to have some fun with it. But we are switching red hot, the Reds. We're switching to the Reds here. And we're going to start off, spring training's in full form. Opening day is on Thursday, which is going to be awesome.
Yep, I'll be there.
I will be there. Logan will be working.
Yep.
I will be
slaving away.
I will be partaking in the festivities.
For the rich people.
For 150, baby. But here's what I want to start off with. How good does Puig look in red, baby? How good does that man look in red? He's out there having fun. He's dancing on the base paths. He's licking bats left and right, which I don't really understand. I'm sure Dodgers fans could have.
I do love the tongue wag.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, isn't it?
I kind of dig it.
I like it. I like his vibe. I like his energy. I think once we get him in GABP, he's going to be smashing the ball all over the place.
Yeah, I hope so.
He's got a rocket for an arm as well in right field, so it reminds me of when we had Jay Bruce in right field, and he had an absolute cannon. But moving on. That's just my little thing. I want to talk about the rotation. We got an official release of the rotation.
As of March 22nd, this is what it reads.
As of March 22nd, we have the rotation being Sonny Gray leading us off as number 1. Wood, Castillo, Rourke, and DeSclafani.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, that's pretty much what I kind of expected. I guess going into it, is what it should have been. I had hoped that Tyler Mahle would show some true promise and kind of flashes to what he was at the beginning of last season.
Right.
Regrettably, he wasn't able to do that, but they still have him. I don't know if they sent him down or if he's in the bullpen.
I have no idea. We were just talking about that off air. We have no idea where Tyler Mahle is.
Yeah, I think they have him in the bullpen right now. I think they kept him up. But, and I think going forward, we have some we have some ability to move things around a little bit. I think that you'll definitely see some serious creativity being used by David Bell going forward. And I've been really pessimistic today. Before we got on here, I've been really...
Me and Logan and I had a semi-informal discussion about the Reds. And I'm hopeful, as most Cincy fans are before every season. And Logan's trying to play couch GM, and he's looking past what has happened this past offseason.
Here's the reality, folks. If we don't score 12 runs a game, we're not going to win very many games.
I disagree.
And the games we don't score 12 runs, we're not going to win.
I think you're
wrong. And I think that we can do that. I think we have the offense to do that.
I think you're wrong.
I don't think our starting rotation is where it needs to be. Unless Sonny Gray and Luis Castillo magically create a Cueto and Latos-esque situation and scenario. I don't foresee that happening. Unless Rourke can prove to be the next Aaron Harang. Okay.
Oh my
I don't
Lord,
see that happening.
what a throwback name
right?
in this house.
Right. And and again, I think that it's a formidable line. I think those are all great. If this was our rotation, but they're all 3 through 5 pitchers, I would love it. Absolutely love it. The regrettable thing is we don't have a 1 and a 2. We don't have a 1 and a 2.
Look here. Look, I'm not saying we're playing October baseball. I mean, I think...
Good, because that would be foolish, because we will not be playing October baseball.
Listen. I'm saying for the Bengals to be even relevant, they needed a decent pitching staff.
The Reds.
What did I say?
The Bengals.
Sorry. The Reds. In order for the Reds to be just relevant, I think they needed just a decent pitching staff. I don't think they need a phenomenal pitching staff to be successful in the NL Central. I think with our offense and with our bullpen, I think we can be competitive going late into the season.
I think it'll be interesting. I think this is an interesting team.
That's such a politician.
I think this is the
I think we'll be interesting. What does that mean?
I think it'll be. I think we have fun to watch Reds baseball. I'm excited to watch Reds baseball.
I agree.
I think last year there wasn't a whole lot of reasons to be excited to watch Reds baseball.
Definitely not.
I think regardless of, even if they don't make the playoffs, even if they're not in the hunt going into the All-Star break, I think it'll be interesting to watch them. I think it'll be a fun team to watch. I think they're going to score lots of runs. I think it's going to be a very high-powered offense.
Absolutely.
I think you're going to get familiar with a lot of new names. Now, the unfortunate thing is I think that you're going to be seeing a lot of new names walking away next year, so don't get too comfortable just because we do have a lot of rental players on this team, but that's okay. Let's see how we are over the let our young guys play and see how they do experiment. Let's.
I mean, not fully. I don't think fully.
I mean, they are, because they had to go out and sign these guys and trade for these guys, and I think that they realized that they had to make moves and they couldn't just rely on their farm system anymore. They had to acquire talent from outside, and I think they've done something, and I appreciate that from a fan standpoint. I don't know that. I don't know that we've made all the moves that we needed to, but we've made good moves, or at least moves that put us in a better position than we were at the start of free agency.
Hot take. Logan's going to eat his words at the end of the season, and I'm going to bring it on live here. I'm going to scold him.
So you're going to say the Reds are making the playoffs?
No.
I'm just saying they're not going to make the playoffs, so.
That's all you're saying? Fuck. I mean, screw it. Yeah. No, I'm saying it.
You're going to say, okay.
I'm saying it.
So what's the record?
They're going in as wild card.
What are they?
I'm not going to predict a record.
I mean, you already did a couple episodes ago, but that's all right.
No, I'm changing it. They're going to the playoffs. They're going in as a wild card. They're not going to win in the division. I think the Brewers are going to win the division.
Really? Okay.
I think so.
Listen,
you heard it. You heard it here. Episode 5. Andrew
Cardinals are going to be really good this year, my guy.
That's
St.
fine.
Louis is going to be really good.
That's fine. I'm not worried. I'm not scared. You know what? I stand by what I said. 150th, baby. The Reds are born to baseball.
Yeah, I think that
I'm not going to hear it. I'm not going to let you speak. I'm moving on.
I think the most dubs they're going to get this year is for best uniforms as they go
that
through
is going to be dope.
30 different uniforms this year. But
that is going to be dope. And one thing you were saying, there's things to be excited about. Now, offense is one thing we've been excited about with the Reds for the past 2 years. And I think that's great. But one thing I'm particularly excited about is the bullpen. The Reds have a lethal bullpen right now. You have Amir Garrett, Raciel Iglesias, Hernandez, Hughes, and Lorenzen. Lorenzen's going to play center field, too, this year. Count it.
I mean, it's a pretty crowded outfield as it is.
He's going to get out there.
Maybe like a little double switch action or something.
Yeah, maybe get him in there, get him in as a pinch hitter. But I'm excited for it. What are your thoughts on the bullpen?
I think the bullpen will be effective again this year. Now, here's what happened to the bullpen last year is that we weren't getting quality starts from our starting pitching staff, and our bullpen was worn down.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, I think that you saw that and it manifested itself in lots of runs whenever they were starting to come in early on in games, and I think that this year, I think that you're going to see more quality starts.
Yeah.
So as much as I'm, giving the starting rotation a hard time, I think it's going to be better. I think that as a result, what was already a good bullpen, which is now bolstered with, people who are guys who were starting last year, so in theory should be better, will be bolstered by those new additions, and also be protected a little bit by these new guys in the starting rotation who hopefully can provide 6 innings. 7 innings, and
anything more than 4.
There was one stretch of game. There was a 10-game homestand where Hernandez pitched like 3 or 4 innings, every game.
Yeah,
and that can't happen. That can't happen, And then we played the game where it was a rotating door for the starting rotation of we're calling up Jim Bob Cooter to freaking pitch for and it's just like, come on, man, help brother out,
We brought in that one, what was his name?
Yeah.
He got smacked for like 400 runs. It was it's ridiculous, but I think the bullpen's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be one of the fun parts. Iglesias is just off a signing, so I'm excited.
What do you want? We know what the outfield's supposed to look like, but what do you want it to look like day one, opening day? What should the outfield look like?
I think you put Puig in right.
Okay.
I like Winker, but I want to see what Kemp's about. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's the thing. Think about it. We have now he's aging,
Yeah.
but we have a guy who was an all-star last year sitting on our bench.
I know.
It's a good problem to have.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see Kemp out there, and then I guess I wanted Senzel.
I'd put Kemp in left, and Winker can come in and do some pinch hitting here and there.
I wanted Senzel in center. I was really rooting for him, but as of
he'll be there eventually.
Yeah, but as of today. As many of you may or may not know, Nick Senzel was sent down to minor league assignment. But I think
strictly a business move.
It's a business move, and it's a move that allows the Reds to remain in control of him. And
Would
stuff
you?
like that.
I pose it this way: would you rather have Nick Senzel for an extra 162 games, or an extra 15 games?
Right. Right.
And that's because that's what we're looking at. He's going to miss probably 15 games at the beginning of the season, and then they'll bring him up, and they'll have him under a contract for another year. I think it's totally worth it. Yeah. And, again, I don't think they're a playoff team, so I don't think the 15 games is going to matter that significantly anyways.
It doesn't matter. They're going to – you heard it. You heard it here, guys. He's doubting me. I'm psychic. I'm telling you.
No playoffs.
No playoffs, he says, but I disagree. And then I think we're getting close to wrapping it up. It is getting a little bit long here, but
That's what she said.
All right, Logan, how do you think they've looked in spring training? Give me your pessimistic / optimistic.
Yeah,
views.
it's hard because whether it's any preseason any sport, I don't put a whole lot of weight in.
Yeah.
And because you're tinkering with things, you're playing with things, you're trying to.
It's David Bell's first year.
You're giving an opportunity to answer all the question marks that you have. To the guys who are fighting for the chances to be a part of the organization going forward. Like a Brandon Finnegan, for example. This is his last hurrah. I mean, if he's not making the team this year, it's not happening. And
he's already sent down.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And and you have guys like that who are getting significant playing time in spring training. I know the record doesn't reflect a good team, but I thought there's some decent outings from some pitchers. Sonny Gray missed his first 2 scheduled starts due to injury, so that's concerning. His injury's been a problem with him for his whole career, so that's again, something that gives me a bit of reservation. But aside from that, again, I think you have every reason to be excited with the things you've seen in spring training. Philip Irving had a hell of a spring training, and he got sent down.
Stud.
Again, just too crowded of an outfield.
It's a tough spot to be in right now. But like I said, I'm hopeful. There's been bits and pieces that have been really pleasant to watch. I think we've been hitting well. Sonny Gray, despite the injuries, has had a couple outings of some shutout baseball. I mean, there was one where he went out there and struck out like 4 of 6, which was cool in a 2-inning little thing. So there's definitely some promise in these guys. Obviously, spring training is not indicative of how the regular season's going to go. It means nothing. I mean, it means something, but it means not as much as everybody would like to believe. Because after pretty much the 4th inning, it's like it's Jim Bob, nobody sitting out there in center field, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to change the channel now because I don't really want to watch anymore.
Yeah, I'm excited to see competitive Reds baseball again and not be, I'm also excited. I'm not excited to work these games, though, because I feel like they're a lot of going to be high-scoring games, and that makes it a longer game for me. I really don't want to, work a 4.5-hour game.
Nobody cares about what you want to work, dude.
I'm just saying.
This is a sports podcast,
but
not
whenever they're out of town, I'm super excited to see them score lots of runs and laugh at the other people who have to sit there and work for a very long time, and it won't be me, so it'll be really funny.
I agree. And with that, I think it's time to wrap up. We're back. We're back in action. We're getting back into the swing of things. It's March, baby.
Yeah,
okay?
It is March. It is March, baby. Get ready for the madness.
Get ready. If you're in it already, get ready for opening day. Ooh, get ready for the draft next month.
Right.
It's a hot time. It's a hot time in sports, baby.
Yeah, I mean, and hey, opening day for baseball in Cincinnati is the best day in the year, and I think that it's something to be excited about, and
it's actually on opening day this year.
Right. So we'll definitely make it happen. But let's go ahead and sign off here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I've been Andrew.
And I'm Logan, and folks, we'll see you around the Natty.